little nerd. I was very interested in science from a young age. My parents took me to it, the Double Helix Science Club. I've always been very interested in anything to do with the natural world. I'm a very social person by nature. I mean, as soon as I got into science, I always knew I wasn't just going to be sitting at a computer doing my own science. I love to work with other people. One of the things I do quite a lot is to take many different data sets that have been produced by different scientists all over the world over many years, and sort of put those all into a big pool of data and see what new things I can pull out of that pool of data that you couldn't tell just from individual data sets. More specifically, the particular sort of data that I use, this is data that tells us how various components of the climate system have changed throughout the past several hundred years. In this Nature paper, we looked at hundreds and hundreds of years of data to tell us how the water circulation has behaved differently in the industrial era. The reason that we can do this is because the water circulation, it really affects weather and climate all over the world. So even if there's just a little bit of information stored up in an ice core from Antarctica or a tree from China, just a little bit of information about the water circulation, we can extract that and use that to help us figure out how the water circulation's changed over hundreds of years. We know that the Earth is warming and that this is the result of human activities. So what was really interesting that we found is actually that the water circulation on average has not changed in strength in the industrial era compared to the pre-industrial. So even though we found no sort of overall change in the strength of the water circulation in the industrial era, we did find a few really interesting things. One of those is that human-generated aerosols can actually cause the water circulation to get a bit stronger. So this is aerosols from things like coal-fired power plants and cars. The other thing we found is that in the industrial era, the rate at which water circulation events happen has got a little bit slower. So for example, instead of going quickly between El Nino-like and La Nina-like conditions, we tend to dwell a little bit longer on either. Being a climate scientist, it's incredibly rewarding. I mean, I know every day that what I'm doing, we're helping to figure out what's happening with the climate system. One of the things I particularly like about my job is teaching. So I do my research at a university, but I also teach the students here. It's really exciting to see how much they care, how interested they are in what's happening with the climate, and they've got real drive to do something about it. The thought of having sort of a great group of students to work with who are following on from the research that I do, I'm sure building and improving on it, that's really wonderful. It's one of the great things about academia is working with colleagues, mentoring new students who can keep continuing this work.